Years ago, a big study occurred. What is the best type of therapy? What brings the best results? Is there a therapy type? Is it better when you have a more experienced therapist, a therapist that's the same gender as the client or the same ages? Chances are the results will surprise you. I'm Dr. John, and in this video, I'd like to explore what makes therapy work and how psychedelic therapy may enhance the whole process. I offer both traditional therapy and psychedelic therapy, but most of my clients are generally interested in both. So let's explore how it all works. For years and years, before the internet really blew up, if you wanted to find the best refrigerator, the best car, you went to Consumer Reports. It was a magazine that really specialized in unbiased comparisons. So you can be, a smart consumer. And yeah, to this day, if you are in the market for a new car, you go to Consumer Reports, they have a magazine, a website, and you can really figure out the most reliable car, the best one for your money. Same thing with kitchen appliances and different products. Well, a few decades ago, they decided to measure something far more complex, the effectiveness of psychotherapy. So they surveyed thousands of people who've been in therapy, asking about the therapist's training, experience, theoretical orientation, and most importantly, how effective they felt the therapy had been for them. The results were surprising. It really didn't matter much whether the therapist was psychodynamic, cognitive behavioral, or any other modality. Across the board, outcomes were essentially equivalent, pretty much the same. Even the level of therapist experience and years of training had less impact than you would expect. Researchers named this phenomenon the Dodo Bird Effect, after that scene in Alice in Wonderland where the dodo declares a race and then announces that everyone is one and all shall have prizes. With some exceptions, pretty much every therapy, it turns out, was roughly equally good. But there was one factor that consistently predicted outcomes above everything else: the therapeutic alliance, the sense of trust, safety, and genuine connection between client and therapist. When someone asks me which modality should they pursue, EMDR, CBT, internally family systems, I almost always say the same thing. Find a therapist you can actually connect with. There are exceptions, dialectical behavioral therapy for borderline personality, behavioral interventions for specific phobias, but as a general rule, the relationship is the medicine. Therapy really is, at its core, exposure. If you can feel your feelings from a place of safety, you can get some distance from them and really make room for a healthier perspective. It allows you to break out of the autopilot. But again, it requires a level of trust and connection with the therapist. Well, I found that ketamine therapy, psychedelic therapy, really seems to help this process. Because look, I've been in therapy with a number of well-trained, highly regarded clinicians over the years. It's actually a requirement in graduate training, and something I've continued because generally I believe in it. I think it's generally important for therapists to have their own therapy. And each experience really gave me something unique. But over a decade ago, I had my first psychedelic therapy experience with a different kind of guide. Yet to this day, I feel a deeper sense of connection with that person than with almost any other clinician I've worked with. I had realizations I hadn't expected, working through things I didn't even fully know were there. There's something that happens in a well-held psychedelic session that seems to strip away the performance of therapy. In a standard 50-minute session, a client can manage their presentation, stay behind the glass, show you only what they choose to show you. But in a psychedelic journey, that careful management kind of just softens. What emerges is something that's more authentic, more real. And to have a therapist present in that moment really witnessing genuine insight, holding space without judgment, creates a bond that is qualitatively different from what most talk therapy produces. Think of it like this. There's really a difference between knowing someone through years of polite dinner conversation and knowing someone because you happened to be beside them during something that truly changed them. That second kind of knowing just goes deeper and faster. Psychedelic therapy at its best really creates that second kind of knowing. For clients I've worked with who have engaged in ketamine therapy, the shift afterwards is palpable. There's a camaraderie, a shared depth. The therapeutic alliance, again, the single greatest predictor of therapeutic success, is amplified. And that is incredibly important. Sometimes therapy involves homework, right? Sometimes it's really helpful for a person to meditate a few minutes a day. A strong connection means that when I suggest that activity or that homework, they're just more likely to follow along. Give it a try, see what happens. And that can dramatically improve therapy outcomes. Now, it's not a requirement. You can get a lot of growth just in traditional therapy. But the psychedelic therapy really is something to consider simply because it does enhance the effect. It enhances the process. So a good compromise may be to start traditional therapy, right? See how you feel, see how you connect. Remember, with either traditional or psychedelic therapy, the sense of rapport, the sense of connection is key. After a few sessions, you can decide then what path you'd like to take. So for now, to start the process, click the link below to schedule your free 15-minute consultation.